Today is October 1st, 2025. I'm watching the political theater around the government shutdown, and I cannot sit quietly while a dangerous lie gains traction. The White House and Congressional Republicans are hammering a message that this shutdown is the fault of Democrats. They are saying that Democrats want to keep funding Medicare, Medicaid, and other benefits for undocumented immigrants. That sounds alarming. That sounds shocking. But it is not true. It is false. And yet I see people around me starting to believe it. I need to say this as clearly as I can. Undocumented immigrants cannot receive these benefits. They cannot. The law already forbids it. Medicare is an earned benefit. Workers pay into it through payroll taxes over the course of their careers. If you are undocumented, you are not eligible. Medicaid is for certain categories of United States citizens and legal residents who meet strict income or disability requirements. Again, undocumented immigrants do not qualify. The same is true for food assistance programs. The same is true for Social Security. The same is true for nearly every other form of federal aid. At most, undocumented people may access emergency medical treatment in hospitals. Federal law requires hospitals not to turn away people in life-threatening situations. They may also sometimes qualify for disaster relief in cases of national emergencies because those programs serve anyone who happens to be present in the disaster zone. Fair enough. But the idea that Democrats are pouring taxpayer money into long-term benefits for undocumented immigrants is a lie. It is a distraction. It is a trick. And it is being sold to Americans who do not know the rules. And unfortunately, some are buying it. But this is more than a lie. This is an old playbook. This is a tactic that has been used again and again and again. We have seen this before. We have seen it in history. We have seen it in other nations. And now we are seeing it here. Dictators and authoritarian rulers have always understood the power of a scapegoat. They take a group of people, they point to them as outsiders, they blame them for the nation's problems. If there is inflation, it's the outsiders. If jobs are scarce, it's the outsiders. If crime feels high, it's the outsiders. We have seen this before. By giving the public someone to hate, leaders distract the public from noticing the corruption. They distract the public from the mismanagement. They distract the public from the greed happening in plain sight. This is what fascist leaders in Europe did in the 20th century. Hitler demonized Jews and Roma and others to unite the German people around a vision of purity and power. At the same time, he consolidated control over every part of government. Mussolini blamed foreign influences and internal enemies to justify violence and dictatorship. And even in more recent times, we have seen strongmen use immigrants or refugees or ethnic minorities as punching bags to hide their own failures. We have seen this before. We know how this story goes. The tactic is always the same. Take the pain people feel, redirect it toward vulnerable people, then cash in on the political support it generates. That is what Republicans are doing now. They know undocumented immigrants do not receive Medicare or Medicaid or other benefits. They know it. But they also know that fear of immigrants can rally their base. They know it can stir up resentment. They know it can create the illusion of moral clarity. And most importantly, they know it can open the door for them to advance a much larger agenda. That agenda is not about government benefits. That agenda is about reshaping America. That agenda is about reshaping America into something narrower. That agenda is about reshaping America into something harsher. That agenda is about reshaping America into something defined by white Christian nationalism. It is about reshaping America into a place where power is concentrated in the hands of even fewer than it does now, and everyone else is told their place. This shutdown fight is not really about dollars and cents. This shutdown fight is about who defines America. Republicans are using undocumented immigrants as a smokescreen. They are using them as a cover. They are using them as a distraction. And while the public looks at the distraction, they are pushing through policies that weaken voting rights. They are pushing through policies that roll back protections for women and LGBTQ people, including marriage equality. They are pushing through policies that privilege their religious ideology over pluralism. They are pushing through policies that reward wealth at the expense of working people. If you can convince the public that Democrats are using their tax dollars to care for so-called illegals, then you can convince the public to look the other way while you dismantle democracy brick by brick. The truth is simple. The talking point is not about government benefits. It's about scapegoating. It's about using fear. It's about using lies. It's about using outsiders as a tool of control. We have seen this before. We have seen it in history. We know what it means. The reason for the shutdown is not undocumented immigrants. The reason is that politicians cannot agree on how to responsibly fund our nation's priorities. Pointing the finger at people with no voice in this political system is easier than admitting that dysfunction in Washington is homegrown by the party that is currently in control in the White House and Congress. It is easier than telling the truth. The truth is that the shutdown is a manufactured crisis. It is a crisis designed to win loyalty to an agenda that will hurt the very people who are cheering for it. And that is why I feel compelled to speak, because I know how misinformation spreads. If a lie is repeated loudly enough, if a lie is repeated often enough, people start to accept it as truth, even among Democrats. We have seen this before. We know how it works, and we know the danger. The shutdown is painful. The shutdown affects workers. The shutdown affects families. The shutdown affects communities across this country. It is not caused by imaginary benefits for undocumented immigrants. It is caused by political leaders who would rather weaponize falsehoods than govern responsibly. And behind their falsehoods lies a more dangerous truth. The dangerous truth is that scapegoating is not just a tactic to win the news cycle. Scapegoating is not just a distraction. Scapegoating is a strategy to control a nation, our America.